Tu Bishvat, an enigma, a celebration, something we talk about. We know that there's no tachanin. We know that even a chassan, if he gets married on that night, he doesn't fast. But what is it about Tu Bishvat that we're celebrating? The Mishnayos Rosh Hashanah tells us there are 4 Rosh Hashanahs, and one of them is there's El Rosh Hashanah, which is from Meiser Behema, Tishrei, which is Rosh Hashanah, and Chamisha, Tu Bishvat, is a Rosh Hashanah Le'ilanos. It's the holiday of the trees. Memories of children that I had growing up, is they would pass around some buxer. We wouldn't be able to eat it, spit it out, and that was the celebration. What, in fact, are we celebrating? There are 2 reasons given in the Yerushalmi. One of them is that the majority of rain from that year has passed. That's one reason given. And the other reason given is that up until this point, that the trees have been taking the rain from last season. Now the trees begin to nourish from the rain that has fallen post-Tishrei. Again, one could really discuss, this is a reason to celebrate. This is in fact a nice thing that the farmers could look out for. But maybe even stranger. Tu B'Shvat this year falls out February. Last year was mid-February. Next year will fall out in January. Shouldn't the seasons go after the solar calendar and not the lunar calendar? And yet Tu B'Shvat is defined as a day in which rain stops, or the day that the trees begin nourishing from this year's rain. What is going on? But perhaps, if we understand that answer to the second question, we can understand what Tu B'Shvat is all about. We say in Chazal, Shekol mevarich al hachodesh bizmana, whoever blesses the moon at its proper time, kilu mekabel pnei shechina, is as if he has created the Shechina. Why? So the Sfarim tell us, because when we look at the moon, when we look at how we develop the yearly seasons based on the moon, it's a big chiddush. An example, Tu B'Shvat. It could be in January, it could be in December, it could be late January, it could be mid-February, early February. And yet, even though certain aspects of the weather should only be happening based on the solar calendar, we're defining them based on the lunar calendar. Because it's not the natural order which is determining what it's going to be, but rather the Torah, which is defined by a chodesh. That is ultimately what is going to determine what the weather is going to be. It's not based on the solar calendar like everybody thinks, but rather HaKadosh Baruch Hu determines it based on the Torah. And some years it'll happen in January, some years it'll happen in February. You know what's going to happen? It's going to happen on Tu B'Shvat. That's understanding how the Shechina works. The Shechina, we don't look at nature and see it as natural, but rather behind the scenes, behind the hands of Teva, behind the hands of the natural world, there's a Kadosh Baruch Hu pulling the strings. When we stop and we think about Tu B'Shvat as beginning of the new time in which the trees get their sustenance from the rain, or the end of the rain happens, we start to think, wow, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is behind the scenes. That's a celebration of Tu B'Shvat. It's Mekabel Pnei Shechina, we're accepting the Shechina upon us, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in control, and we're not based on nature. Let us celebrate Tu B'Shvat, and not just eat the buxer. Sei gesund, stark.